I am going to do a little bit of review, and the reason I do review is that as you continue doing the scribbling, that your awareness expands. So I might say something in the first class and it just goes right through. And then I might say the same thing in the second class and it might go halfway through. But on the third class that I say it, it might go in and stick. And you kind of go, oh, that's what she meant. So know that that is the reason that I do a lot of repetition. So in the first two classes, we focused just on the first activity, which was this is called Just Scribble. And we did individual hands. We did the left hand, we did the right hand, we did both hands together, and then we did the alternating. And so what I'm going to do today is we're going to focus on the second activity. And the second activity is called Explore and Ponder, or the preschool version is called Circles and Lines. And what happens in the second activity is that we really focus in on how circular motion affects us and how linear or straight line motion affects us. And what I'm wanting you to start seeing here is that this activity, well, all of the activities, but specifically this one is really based very, very heavily on Tai Chi and Qigong. Yeah, Tai Chi and Qigong. Because if you, in Tai Chi, if you move your hands this way versus this way, it affects the whole system differently. If you move the hands this way versus this way, it affects the system completely differently. So we're doing it on paper, and eventually we'll do it on our hands, but we're, so you going like this, or you going like this, you're moving the ball, you're doing any of these kinds of movements. They affect the nervous system, which then affects your brain, it affects your mind state, affects everything. So it looks like only doing circles and lines. But when you're doing it, really pay attention. This is the difference. It's like, this is mindless. This is mindful. And it's not the speed. It has to do with the level of attention that you give it. So if you bring all of your attention to it, then you are shifting from here over to here. And like I said, the name of the game is how much time do you spend here? And how can you stay there? So it's through these movements. One of the things I tell people in classes, if you see me talking, it looks like I'm talking with my hands, but I'm actually purposely trying to keep myself here instead of here. We all have funky tapes. We all have some not so good ones. We have some really ugly ones. We have some ones we wish weren't there, but they're there. So we suspend them so that we can be present and connect with what's happening and make a conscious choice about what the system is going to do. So in the first activity, the scribbling one, what I really try to get you to understand is it's the movement. It's the movement. It's the rhythm. It's the melody that you're looking for. You're looking for a qualitative difference between how your body moves when it's here versus how it moves when it's here. And for each of us, even the sound of my voice changes. So pay attention to yourself. when you're in a conversation with somebody and, you know, maybe it starts going a little south, or, you know, you're getting really happy, or, you know, pay attention to how your body moves. What's different and what isn't. So then, you know, like I said, in the second activity today, is we're going to be focusing on the shape, the specific shape. Is it a really big circle? Is it clockwise or counterclockwise? And how much pressure? You know, and so you're going to be incorporating the rhythm and the speed from the first activity, but you're really looking at shape in this activity. So how we do the activity is that we focus just on drawing circles. So I have you, you know, we'll take 3 deep breaths, and I'll have you focus on drawing circles. And I want you to really pay attention to the size and the amount of pressure and the direction. Now, some of you might find that your piece of paper is too small and that you need to have a bigger circle. So that's where we move into what I call air crayons. It's kind of like takeoff of air guitar. So you just imagine that you have a big piece of paper here, and you make your circle as big as it needs to be. As big as it needs to be. And you know, once again, you just pretend that you're using a crayon, but you get your whole body. Some people need to bring the whole body into that. So I'm going to make a little diversion here and talk. I want to talk about intuition for a minute. Everybody's intuitive. There's no question about it. So why are some people more intuitive or able to utilize their intuition more accurately than somebody else? It all has to do with, I figured out, at least in my opinion, it all has to do with the decoding process. Is because each one of us, you can't learn a system because your body has a unique system. But what I can tell you is that something a teacher told me probably about 50 years ago when I was in my 20s. He said, you know, the body has 2 minds, one from the neck up and one from the neck down. The one from the neck down doesn't lie. So what he's saying here is pay attention to your body sensations. Develop your sensory awareness. Be more instinctual and less cognitive. Get out of your head and into your body and into the moment and into your senses. And you will be able to utilize your intuition, you know, i.e. be guided. I mean, that being here is the only place you can tap into your authentic self and the universe. It's the only place. This here is Pavlovian. It's like a little, you know, you were taught, you know, it's like training an animal, you know, to do this. Push a button, you get a banana. Push a button, you get this. Push a button, you get that. So we were taught that same way when we were young. Unfortunately, some of the stuff we were taught wasn't accurate and really is counterproductive for us now. So that's why we just go here. Okay. So the other thing I want to bring up in terms of sensory awareness is that you're going to notice, excuse me, you're going to notice that I have different crayons. So when you're getting aware of your sensory awareness, pay attention. Do you like skinny crayons or fat crayons? Do you like crayons with the paper or without the paper? You know, what do you like the best? I personally like fat, stubby crayons with no paper because I like feeling the wax. It's a very pleasurable feeling for me. For you, it's might be different or may not. But once again, go through your day, not just when you're scribbling. Touch your mashed potatoes. You know, put your finger in your soup, you know, pick up your salad with your finger. I mean, get into experiencing life from the neck down. And the more you do it, the more you're going to have this reservoir of reactions and responses that's going to keep you in the present moment. Because imagine here you are, you're at lunch, no, we're not in shelter in place anymore. You're in a lunch in a restaurant with somebody, and all of a sudden the conversation gets a little dicey. How do you stay here? Senses. You can do this under the table. You can start picking up your cucumbers with your fingers and feeling it. Anything that's going to keep you here, in here, and detached from what's happening outside. You're still engaged in it, but it doesn't have power over you. You can use discernment. You can use clarity. Okay, all right, so what I want you to do here is you're gonna close your eyes and you take 3 deep breaths, and I want you to just explore circles. And once you are clear on, you know, the size circle, and it could be, you know, little tiny circles, big circles, little circles, circles inside of circles, whatever gives you pleasure. Why am I having you have your eyes closed? So that you're not looking at something, so that you instead are feeling what you want to, how it affects you. Once you're done with the circles, flip your paper over without opening your eyes, take 3 more deep breaths, and then I want you to explore lines. And remember, like I said before, a line going, horizontal line going that way versus this way affects your body differently. Line going this way versus this way affects you differently. Same with angles, every single angle. Now, if your paper is on the table, when you're going from what I would call the top to the bottom, you're really going away from you or towards you. You know, so pay attention. Once you're clear on which lines you like the best, just raise your hand and we'll move forward, okay? So everybody close their eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and then start exploring circles. You can do the activity with one hand, the other hand, both hands together. You know, just explore what works the best. Okay, so I want to tell you a little story. Is that I did this class for a bunch of Head Start teachers a bunch of years ago. And there was one teacher who, when we did the circles, she just did all these tiny little circles like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. It's like filled up her whole page with these tiny little circles. And then when all the other teachers saw it that worked with it, they burst out laughing. And I said, well, what's the joke? And they said, oh, her favorite stress release is popping bubble wrap. Popping bubble wrap. Okay, so, you know, have all these little tiny circles. She just sits there and pops the bubble wrap. She has a huge roll of bubble wrap in her bottom drawer of her desk, and she takes it out and she just pops. Circle, you know, bubble after bubble after bubble. Okay, so why am I telling you this story? The reason I'm telling you this story is I want you to pay attention to what you have around you and how what you discover here, you've already been doing innately without realizing it. So, you know, if you have, I know a gal who is an interior decorator, and she actually categorizes people as either circle people or line people. And so the point is look around your home. Do you have more circular things, or do you have more linear things? Now for me, linear lines affect me really, really differently, and I draw on them immediately in certain situations. And I mean, and it's either this line or this line. It's really, it affects me just incredibly. And the same way, this affects me differently than this. And this affects me differently than this. So look at me. I said everybody's intuitive, but we're not also often aware of how we're innately organizing our life to keep ourselves balanced. But when you become aware of it, then you can consciously choose to do those things in difficult moments. So pay attention, you know, are you a bubble wrap person? You know, or do you like little tiny things? Little tiny things, or do you like, you know, big things, or is it straight line? I mean, I have a friend who is truly a straight line person. That's, I mean, it's like, nope, no circles, no curves, no nothing, just, and it works for her. So it doesn't matter, there isn't any good or bad, it's what's gonna get you here and keep you there, period. That's it, that's simple. Okay, so I wanna know, did you like circles? If you like circles better than straight lines, okay. Did you like straight lines at all? Yes or no? Raising a hand would be yes. Okay. Did you like doing it on a small piece of paper, or did you like doing it really big? Small piece of paper? Okay. Big. Okay. All right. So know that about yourself. Know that if you need to do it big, then you need to engage your whole body. Okay, so let's translate this into life. All right, so you're in a difficult situation and you know you have to move your whole body. How are you going to do that? You're not going to start doing this because they'll lock you up. But what you can do is say, you know what, I got to take a pee. And you get up and you move to what I call the sacred site that's in almost every single building. It's called a bathroom. You go in there, you close the door, then you can do whatever you need to do to get yourself rebalanced. But just intentionally standing yourself up, especially if you're a big body movement person, and moving out of the entanglement that is happening with this other person or this other situation can break that hold and get you back here right away. So once again, the name of the game is increase the percentage here. 95%, you know, most people spend 95% of their time here, their system being run by that part. That means you only have 5% of your day to create the life you want. Duh, no wonder it takes so long. No wonder, it's like, we're not stupid, it's like the percentage is against us. But if you change the percentage, you know, change this from 95 to 90 to 85, 75, you know, we're not even talking about 50%, we're just talking about changing it small increments. Every incremental change increases the time you're there and increases your ability to create the life you really want and need. change the percentage. That's it. Just change the percentage. Okay. So the second part of this activity is finding a way. So if you really like, if you like circles and you like lines, this other version is pretty easy. But if you have a dislike for either circles or lines, it becomes a little more challenging, and it also can be very insightful. Okay, so what I'm wanting you to do here is you're going to take 3 deep breaths, and then you can have your eyes open for this part. But what I want you to do is I want you to put circles and straight lines on the same page. And you know, just if it comes out in a certain design or however, ultimately, you know, what you're going to do is yeah, so that's all I want you to do right now. I want you to just close your eyes, get yourself centered, and then see how you can place circles and lines on the same page. Okay? And when you're done, when you have a sense of it, and once again, this is the first time you're going to do it. You can explore it many, many times from now, and you'll refine it. But right now, just get a sense of how you would put circles and lines on the same page in a way that you found pleasurable or enjoyable to look at, okay? And when you're done, put your hand up. So was it easy to put them on the same page? Yes or no? Okay. Thank you, Don. Was it, did you gain any insights? I'm going to tell you a story. So quite a few years ago, I did a big workshop, and there was a gal in the class who absolutely adored circles. I mean, we're talking, she could draw circles from here to eternity, and she especially liked really big circles. And she detested, absolutely just freaked out, just would freak out if she had to draw a straight line. And so when we got to this activity, it was a big challenge for her. But she worked on it and worked on it and worked on it, and because it was a couple-day workshop. And all of a sudden, a light bulb went off in her head, and she said, "Oh my goodness." What it was that this straight lines represented other people telling her what she had to do and how she had to do it. And the circles, she had very, very soft energy. She was very creative, a very yin person. And that the circles really helped her connect with that part of her. So that's why she loved them. It really, every time she did a circle, it took her to here. She could feel her authentic self. She had a sense of purpose. Everything was in alignment. But the minute that a line came in, you know, it was like somebody, you know, slapping her hand and saying, "Nope, can't do it that way. You have to do it this way. Nope, can't do it that way. You have to do it this way." And she freaked out. So what she ended up doing is she discovered that she would draw a really big, delicious circle, and then she would draw a tiny little line. And then she would draw another big, delicious circle and a tiny little line. And then she translated it into her life. And she realized that there were people in her life that, you know, wanted these big, hard, strong lines in her to do and behave in a certain way. And she just couldn't do it. She just couldn't do it. But if she made the line, if she took what they were saying and she made it small enough and she bracketed it with something that helped her be here, helped her remember who she was and what she had to offer to the world, then she could tolerate that little bitty line. It's like, yeah, I'll do that, you know, but that's all I'll do, you know. And then she would do another big thing, she'd go for a hike with her dogs, or she'd go, do some cooking or play with her kids, or, she would do something that would take her back here. And then she could tolerate a tiny little line. It's like, okay, but don't boss me around any more than that. That's all you can have. And so her learning this about herself meant that then she actually had the capacity to make some of her dreams a reality. Before then, every time she hit a line, a straight line, she would just back away and just give up. And so she wasn't able to, really realize her dreams. So it looks like we're just doing circles and lines on a piece of paper. But pay attention to, how do they affect you? How do they reinforce your awareness of yourself? And how can you keep, other people's agenda at a distance? It's like, they can have that opinion. They can, that's might work for them, but it doesn't necessarily work for you. So it looks like we're scribbling, we're drawing circles and lines, but what we're really doing is we're really learning how to use some really ancient techniques like Tai Chi and Qigong to reestablish balance and move forward effectively in a way that helps us create the life we want. So I think that's it for today.